The room you work in is quietly deciding who you become. Every morning you sit down at that same desk, in that same chair, under that same light, and you think you're choosing your career. Your environment chose it for you months ago. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how your workspace has been writing your professional story and how to take the pen back. Think about the last time you walked into someone's office and immediately felt something shift inside you. Maybe it was a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows, and your posture changed before you said a word. Maybe it was a cluttered, dim cubicle and something in your chest tightened. You registered that feeling in under 2 seconds, faster than thought, faster than judgment. Your body read the room and adjusted who you were accordingly. That adjustment is the mechanism most people sleepwalk through for decades. Neville Goddard taught that your state determines your reality. The state you occupy, the feeling of being a certain kind of person, generates the circumstances that match it. Most people try to shift their state through willpower alone. They affirm in the morning, visualize at night, and then spend 8 to 10 hours marinating in an environment that silently contradicts every word. The workspace wins. It always wins, because repetition is the language consciousness understands best. Your desk isn't furniture, it's a trigger. The arrangement of objects around you, the quality of light falling across your hands, the sounds bleeding through the walls. Each one is a cue your subconscious reads as instruction. A workspace cluttered with half-finished projects tells your deeper mind one story. A workspace arranged with intention tells it something entirely different. You can recite affirmations about abundance and success until your voice gives out. If your physical environment whispers scarcity and chaos for 8 hours straight, which message do you think sinks deeper? The answer is whatever message comes with repetition and feeling attached to it. That's the law. Consciousness doesn't distinguish between what you deliberately impress upon it and what your surroundings impress upon it by default. Both carry equal weight. The difference is that your environment operates without your permission, without your awareness, every single hour you spend inside it. Consider what happens when someone gets promoted and moves to a new floor. Same person, same skills, same brain. Within weeks, colleagues notice they carry themselves differently. They speak with more authority. Their decisions come faster. The common explanation is confidence from the title, but something more precise is happening. The new environment, the better chair, the quieter space, the view, the proximity to senior leadership, has shifted their inner state. They've stepped into a physical space that matches the assumption of someone at that level, and their consciousness conformed to it. The outer change produced the inner shift, which then produced outer results that justified the promotion in the first place. This is the loop most people never see. Environment shapes state. State generates behavior. Behavior creates results. Results seem to justify the environment. And the cycle locks in, invisible and airtight. So what happens when you're stuck in an environment that locks in the wrong state? You felt this. The fluorescent buzz overhead, the grey partition walls, the desk that faces a wall instead of a window. You sit down Monday morning already carrying a weight you can't name. By Wednesday, your ambitions feel slightly absurd. By Friday, you've forgotten you had them. The environment didn't argue with your dreams. It just gently, persistently replaced them with its own frequency. Like a tuning fork held against a piano string. Given enough contact, the string matches the fork. Every time. The Kybalion describes this as the principle of vibration. Everything moves. Everything has a frequency. Your workspace has one too. The objects in it, the colors, the spatial arrangement, the energetic residue of what happens there daily, all of it vibrates at a specific register. When you enter that space, your personal vibration begins to entrain with it. You can resist for a while. Willpower gives you an hour, maybe 2. Then the environment's frequency becomes your baseline, and you operate from that baseline without realizing you've shifted. This is why 2 people with identical training and talent can produce wildly different results depending on where they work. The one in a space that feels expansive and intentional enters a state of creative authority almost automatically. The one in a neglected, cramped, chaotic space has to burn enormous energy just to reach neutral. They're both talented. One of them is swimming upstream every single day and calling it normal. You might be that second person right now. And you might have been blaming yourself for the struggle. Here's where the inner work begins. You can't always control your entire workspace, open offices, shared spaces, company policies, These are real constraints, but Goddard was clear that the inner state is primary. The environment is a powerful influence, and you can use it deliberately instead of being used by it. Start with what touches your senses most directly: the 6 inches in front of your face, the surface under your hands, the object your eyes land on when you look up from your screen. One woman I heard about kept a single postcard on her monitor, a photo of the office she intended to have one day. Mahogany desk, green lamp, bookshelves lining the walls. She looked at it dozens of times daily. Each glance was a micro-entry into the state of the person who worked in that room. Within 14 months, she'd made 2 lateral moves and a vertical one. The office she ended up in looked nothing like the postcard. The feeling matched exactly. The postcard was never about the furniture. It was a portal into an assumption she visited so frequently it became her dominant state. That's the practice. You create sensory anchors within your current environment that pull you into the state of your desired professional identity. A specific scent, a particular arrangement of your tools, a single object that means something only to you. Each one functions as a bridge between where you physically sit and where you energetically live. The more senses you engage, the deeper the impression on your subconscious. But you have to be honest about what your current setup is doing to you. Walk into your workspace tomorrow with fresh eyes. Stand in the doorway for 10 seconds before you sit down. Feel what the room does to your body. Does your chest open or close? Do your shoulders lift or drop? Does your breathing change? Your body will tell you the truth. Your mind has been editing out. That initial physical response is your subconscious showing you exactly what state this environment programs you into, day after day. Some of you will feel a sinking. That's data, not a verdict. The next step requires courage. Change something. One thing. Today, move your desk to face a different direction. Clear every object that doesn't serve who you're becoming. Add something that belongs to the version of you who's already arrived at the next level. This sounds small. The subconscious doesn't measure in size. It measures in feeling and repetition. One deliberate change, encountered 50 times a day for 30 days, rewrites more internal programming than a weekend seminar ever could. Skeptics within the spiritual community sometimes push back here. They say the inner work should be enough, that a true master of assumption wouldn't need to adjust the physical environment at all. And in the absolute sense, that's true. Consciousness is the only reality, and a perfectly sustained inner state will eventually override any external condition. But we live in bodies. We have senses. Those senses are constantly feeding data to our subconscious, and ignoring that input while trying to hold a contradictory assumption is like trying to meditate in a house fire. Technically possible, strategically unwise. Using your environment as an ally instead of fighting it as an obstacle is wisdom, not weakness. The most successful manifestors I've encountered all share one quiet habit. They curate their physical spaces with the same care they bring to their mental diet. They understand that the seen and the unseen are one continuous fabric. What you place in your visible world reinforces what you hold in your invisible world, and vice versa. The two aren't separate domains, requiring separate strategies. They're the same conversation happening on different frequencies. Your professional identity was never installed at graduation or stamped on a business card. It's being written fresh every morning by the space you walk into and the state that space induces. You've been sitting inside someone else's assumption of who you should be. The architect who designed that office, the manager who arranged those cubicles, the landlord who chose that lighting. Their vision became your frequency, and their frequency became your ceiling. Tomorrow morning, walk through that door with one intention. This space works for me now. Move one object, add one anchor, remove one thing that belongs to the old state. Feel the version of you who already operates at the level you're reaching for. And let your hands arrange the environment to match that feeling. The room will resist for a day or two. It's been humming at the old frequency for months, maybe years. Keep going. Consistency is the only force that rewrites a default. Your workspace has been programming you in silence. Now you program it back, one deliberate, felt, repeated choice at a time. The room you sit in tomorrow morning is the first draft of who you'll be by the end of the year.